Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay, can everyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure everyone could hear me. Is the volume all right? Okay, I had to adjust the microphone volume, and I wasn't sure if it was too loud. How you doing, Inside Joke and Jackalope and Resty on Serpentine, Chris Griffin, James Atherton, Godzilla 101, Diana Jones. What was your name, Inside Joke, when you subbed back at 1,000, or was that always it? It's a little bit too quiet. I can bump that up. Is that better? Greetings from Pittsburgh. That's only an hour and a half from me. I got your name wrong? James Ather Smith? Or is it Ather Smith? Alright, well, I'll start this. Thank you all for coming. I guess I'll do this correctly. I'll say hello and welcome to my third live stream, I believe this is. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but I'm aiming for around 45 minutes to an hour. I also want to mention that for those of you that are Game of Thrones fans, I appreciate you spending time with me, being that the show returns here in a couple hours. Due to work, I won't be able to watch it, though.
I will.
But my wife will, apparently. But hello to all of yous. I hope everyone's doing great. Oh, Rammstein was a great band. Rammstein. But the reason I wanted to have this... Hello, Cryptid 559 from California. The reason I wanted to do this live stream was, as I mentioned before, I have had so little time to actually put a video together, and I thought this was the best way to do it. It's been so many weeks that I've sat here and I've tried to put something together. In fact, you'll see what I've been trying to work on for a while, and I just can't get the time to do it. So all this time I've been sitting here thinking I need to do a live stream. It would be so much simpler and I could get in touch with you better. And so I finally was able to do it. But that's the whole point of this. I'm going to show you. Well, I'll show you too. But I'm going to be talking about a couple things that are coming up. And one of the things in particular I'm really excited about, which should be this week. Hi, Dean. Hi, Brock. Hi, Charles. And I know I'm going to mess up that name. Fly Norican and Susan B. Oh, Nolan Tomlinson says hi.
Hi.
She says hi.
Can they hear me?
I think so. I don't know. I wasn't going to open up the questions just yet, but it's Ice Wolf videos just so for company purposes. Whenever you put a name on there, I didn't want it to be Ben Miller Company, Ben Miller Channel, and I can get into that a little bit later. But to start off, before going into your questions, I want to go over a couple of things to look out for. So as long as I can do this correctly, we'll do this transition. So coming soon, we have quite a few things that are on tap. And normally I don't say what I'm planning on doing beforehand because I like to leave a little bit of excitement. But, excuse me, but due to how time has been for me, I thought, well, I'll tease you with a couple things that are coming out. The first thing that I wanted to mention, and let me transition this, if it comes up, yes. Let me make sure it's right here. Are you seeing these transitions out of curiosity? Or is it still showing Yeti, my banner pick? I'm just I'm curious what you guys are seeing right now. Are you seeing the Yeti background pic, or are you seeing an airplane with a UFO above it? Okay, cool. My email is actually in the details on the channel if you go look at that. But this picture that you're looking at now was a thumbnail I made probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. I wanted to do one on phantom airplanes, and they occur more during like World War II, where the planes themselves aren't like a ghost plane or something like that, but there's a phenomenon where these planes are found where they land themselves and there are no passengers aboard. Something straight out of a horror movie, and I think there was actually a TV show not long ago about that. One of which was during when they're at Pearl Harbor, where they actually saw a pilot in the plane while it was in the air, but when it landed there was no one inside. So that was the video, and this is the actual thumbnail for what was planned to be coming out. But like I said, I haven't been able to have an opportunity to do so. Also coming up, and this is one that I'm fairly excited about, is about, I'd say a week and a half ago, I was looking at some things on the internet, and I was actually looking up things about the Mothman, and I saw this link for a certain, I don't want to say it's a product thing, but there was these items that were for sale that I had no idea were available. And I even told my wife, I said, how did I not know that these existed? And I reached out to the company, and from what I understand, Tuesday I am supposed to be getting a shipment from them, which I will be making a video about. And I think you'll be very interested in it if you love cryptids as much as I do, which I know you do. I don't want to go into too much detail about it because, like I said, I'm excited about it, and I think you will really enjoy it. The other thing I have on plans for the future here is one of my longtime friends, Dustin, who runs CoinOp. Quite a while ago, I had actually not put this at weeks, this would be a year or more ago, contacted me wanting to do a cursed coin video, And I put everything together. It was at the same time I was working with the other channel, Mad Cat Mysteries, and I just didn't get around to filming anything with him, or should I say even putting anything together. And I mean, I'm still talking to him about it, and he still wants to do it. And I will say congratulations to him. He just hit 100,000 subscribers. Well, he's over that now. But there's our phone ringing for live. But yeah, I have the script and everything written, and I plan on getting that out probably once I'm done working. The other thing that I want to bring up is that here, coming up, my brother has had a major interest in the Zodiac Killer. And I know that's normally not my channel's kind of thing, but he has some interesting input into what he thinks happened, or even like this cipher is what you see here, as to how it was figured out and everything like that. Like I said, it will be a video though he'll primarily take control of and explain it to you, because I'm like I said, it's not really my thing, but it is interesting, and I think you know, it's be appreciated to hear his thoughts on it. The last thing I want to mention, and this one should be interesting for a few of my viewers, is that a couple of you have asked me to my thoughts and opinions on a father and son investigator team named Paul and Ben Eno, and due to that, I reached out to them. I would say this was probably about 3 or 4 months ago, and well, no, it was around Thanksgiving, and they said that they'd be interested in coming on my program and having a conversation about what they do and information that they have, and I'm excited about that too. But as usual, as life has it, I'm unable to do so at the moment. But my whole point to showing you all these is so you know what to look forward to in the future on top of my regular content. And it's kind of like I said, a little bit of a teaser as to what to look forward to. Now we're popping back into the chat. I'm curious what's going on here. Before I actually get into some of your questions, I did want to mention something that I have a coworker that I want to extend the Cryptid family welcome out to. And his name is Luis, and his stepson, who he said should be watching this too, I believe he said he's 5 years old, is Xander. So, welcome to the channel, and welcome to the stream if you're here just as yet. But at this moment, I would like to look at a few of your questions and see what you have for me. I'm seeing a lot of things here. The Orang Pendek, I actually had a whole series planned on that, because there's quite a few within that range that all have the orang part of it. And yes, I plan on doing one, but I have yet to do so. Okay, I see a lot of people from Pennsylvania here. The name, what is it, Popobawa? It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure of what it is. Plum Island I have covered. I do want to do the one on its sister location, which moved into the western part of the United States. The Albert Witch. I'm not familiar with that one, but I'll have to look into it. I actually need to write that down. I have to drop my notes here that I had. The Albert Witch. The Bob Gimlin, is that the one that, is that the same one that's with the famous Bigfoot footage? Being I'm seeing a lot of people know him, then no, apparently not. No, I'm not familiar with him. I do try to keep up on other people's stuff, but something I wanted to mention on Slender Man. Someone put on there, Slender Man is real. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Saxton, PA. I'm not sure where that's from. And I'm writing down Gimlin because I'm not sure who he is, but I will look him up. And I'm sorry if my pen clicks very loudly. Yeah, I see that. That's why I was confused. And I'm seeing you mentioned about the one-eyed bat. Now that you mention it like that, I do recall that cryptid being described as that, but I'm not sure if that's the name I remember it being called. Hi, Mon Chi Chi. Hello from Pennsylvania to Missouri. The Fresno Nightwalkers, I've considered doing a video on them, but it's one of those things I'm kind of on the fence about, where I see people are able to debunk them, but at the same time, others say they're real. So I'm a little bit nervous about touching on it. I guess I could do just like a cryptid spotlight on it where I don't actually say if I believe it's real or not. What is the silver arrow or the silver pillin? I'm not familiar with the Domstein or Domstein blobs, but I have looked into the prospect monoliths. I have it on in my list of channel topic ideas. How did I get into cryptozoology? I would say I'm more I wouldn't say I'm into cryptozoology, but I do like cryptids if you want to make that distinction. I saw a few strange things, and I've covered that in my personal paranormal, I believe, where one I believed at first was the chupacabra, but it later turns out to, I think it was a gray, but I also somewhat thought I saw a Bigfoot. I don't know. But after that, I just kind of gotten interested in the topic, and I've always liked Nessie and Bigfoot and what have you. Phoenixville, PA. I'm not sure where that's at. I'm not understanding your comment, James. Brock, the cryptozoologist investigator. No, I'm not really into that type of thing, but I am greatly appreciative when things are brought into public that get the interest into cryptids as well. Nessie is one of those cryptids that I like to put it into the mindset of like Fox Mulder from X-Files, where it's I want to believe, but yeah, it seems pretty much that it might have been a scam. There was something there at one time. I don't know what it was, because there is history about it. Yeah, that brownie story, that was even one of those few that my wife actually thought I was crazy. Are you saying ghosts are a scam? Now, many musings, I agree with you that, you know, the story of Slender Man was fictional. There are creatures within myths and legends that are similar to it, but not exactly. But the thing I do give the Slender Man credit for is the fact that it's interesting how it shows how folk tales actually start. Well, see, normally we see ghosts around our house quite a bit. You need to email me some of those stories, Robbie. My dad has always had experiences with UFOs and has had many of them. You think that? Okay, there's the story that Godzilla 101 is talking about. There is he saw something, and I apologize in advance if you. Do you mind if I tell them what it was about? Before I start, I want to know if you're fine with that. I believe someone created a Discord channel for me. I just am unfamiliar with how to do all that. I actually believe it was Atlier who did it for me. Yes, I've played both Red Dead Redemptions, and they're both very good games. Wendigo videos, I'm not sure. I'm always willing to revisit a topic, especially if I have any kind of thing. Any more information, I guess I should say. And who knows, I might touch on it again. Susan B says a meet and greet table would be nice to have at the festival this year. Which festival would that be? I would love to actually do it. Robbie, the best way to send it to me is with my email. And if you go to my main channel page, you go to the About tab, and it has my email right there. Yeah, I would love to actually go to a meet and greet. Inside joke, I started playing, I have the full Uncharted series, and I started playing 1 and 2, and I was a little bit disappointed with how repetitive it was. I know we're getting a little off topic here, but I was a little disappointed with how it was constantly fighting waves and waves of enemies. So, I don't know if I will go to 4 or not. But I wanted to jump back. That Godzilla 101, he mentioned to me a story that he had where it was a kind of a skinwalker type of being, and if I remember correctly, it had yellow eyes, and it seemed to constantly be around him, and he thinks it followed him from one house to another. And I've discussed this encounter with a few other people that I know, and other people that are more versed in the spirit realm, and we're all kind of confused by it. So the only thing I can hope is, because normally skinwalkers are not good to have following you around, so if you haven't seen it in 2 years, I hope it did leave you alone. Okay, you say it's in Columbia, PA. I'm going to write that down. And what type of event is it? I was kind of curious if that was you, Luis. Okay, I'll have to write that down. I'm writing that down. I have so many notes already. I don't know if I'd want to trap something I think is a skinwalker. That might not work out too well. I could see that, Dean. Your eyes are pretty interesting. What is this? I don't understand. For some reason, the chat, every once in a while, has people's comments blocked, and I don't understand why. Charizard, I actually wanted to cover the missing 411. I know that's not what you said, but you said about people going missing, and that kind of ties in with that. But again, I have very little time anymore to do anything along that scale, because I really want to put the effort forth and make it right. And with something like that, there's so much information to go over. It would probably take me 2 weeks to even start to make a video about it. Oh, good evening, Paranormal Voice. I saw the question pop up real quickly. What my favorite, I'm assuming Cryptid would be? It's a toss-up between the Mothman and the Jersey Devil. Okay, yes. Toss-up between the Mothman and the Jersey Devil. I plan on making the missing 411, I'd say here in a few months. But at this moment, we're, for the job I'm on, and as Flyer Rican, I believe his name is, knows, we have quite a few months left. Well, maybe not a few months, but at least 8 to 10 weeks left. Oh, okay. I have it on top chat. So let me go live if I can do that. There we go. Alright, when I went to live chat, for some reason it stopped all chat. There we go. I don't want one. Adi, I don't want one to happen. Oh. See, Charizard, I actually had that same exact thought, where at one point I thought of a tattoo of a Mothman fighting Jersey Devil, but I don't know who would win that. I'd like to put my money on the Mothman. Did everyone lose sound, or was that just Nolan? Or am I having a lag? Godzilla, you don't want to set a trap for one. And like people have said, it was pretty much impossible, being that if they're spirit form, then they can just get out. And if they go in an animal form, they can just leave. Okay. Yeah, that's putting it pretty bluntly, James. The Jersey Man. Oh, someone asked about Chewy. Chewy is doing very well. I'm actually surprised he's not here on my lap. I think he's on the couch right now. Yeah, he's looking at me on the couch. Oh man, I think okay, I'm good. I'm good. I was in the middle of reading all your comments and Forgot to change the background. Yes, that's one of the things that was interesting about the Jersey Devil. And to be honest with you, when I first started making the video about it, I thought it was just a local legend that didn't exist. And then after reading all the reports and stories from all different walks of life, that I now believe that there is something going on, and I plan on going to the Pine Barrens eventually. Why do you believe the Mothman and the Jersey Devil are the same? I'm just curious. Adi, there's actually a couple of things that pop in my mind for it as to what you could be seeing. First off, it could be a jinn, it could be a shadow person. And another thing that I recently found out about, and I want to do a video about, is what is called a blur, I believe they're called. And they're basically kind of like seeing a shadow, the silhouette of a person in the fog, where they're there but they're not. So I'm not really sure. I'm not going to touch on that topic. I do know, I see the chat's pretty full of Jersey Devil comments now. It's a very interesting history, and there are reports that at one time someone did kill it, and I've seen pictures of what was supposed to be the body, but who knows. The Mothman, I honestly originally thought was just simply a cryptid, but I'm now more into like the interdimensional being of like a watcher, where they're almost, I guess, you could put it correctly, as an alien. Welcome, OD. I did a video on the dog man, and I still to this day get a lot of comments on it where there's confusion as to what the difference is between that and a werewolf. And honestly, even when doing the video, I didn't know that we had so many reported sightings of dogmen in Pennsylvania, but apparently it is a thing here. I've never seen one, but there's a whole investigation group here in my state that does take stories and encounters of what happened, so there might be something to it. Hey, Marianne. Yeah, Cryptid 559. I have no reason to believe that they're not real. I just was unaware of them, especially with the differentiation between a werewolf and a dogman. Now, the Partridge Creek Monster, can you remind me which one that was? The name's familiar, but I'm not sure. Okay, I missed something because I see something hung out on your roof for 9 years. What would that be? I'm seeing a lot of questions. I must be missing what the original part was. Oh, okay. Now I remember what it was. The Partridge Creek monster. The one that basically was a T-Rex. I think I did a video on that where I think it was dinosaur cryptids, and I briefly mentioned it. I'm not really sure what to think of it. I mean, they had, if I remember correctly, they had footprints there, and they did have some evidence that it did exist, so I'm not sure. Oh, really? What did the microphone say? Or what did what was EVP? I meant it was like a T-Rex, but it wasn't. If I remember correctly, the Partridge Creek monster, wasn't it almost like a shadow form? The Crunchy Sopa, when it comes to sea creature cryptids, they normally tend to fall into only a few categories. And it's always like Loch Ness or the Kraken or Megalodon. I wouldn't doubt that there are giant versions of creatures out there in the water, but for some reason, sea cryptids really aren't talked about too often. I don't know what that would have been. Have a good night from Miga. What did the microphone say? Are you still hearing the whispering? I did a video on the Chupacabra. I think it was probably the second or third video I did on the Cryptid Spotlight. I'm going to have to re-listen to this and see what everyone's hearing. Everyone keeps saying they're hearing some kind of whispering.
Could they be hearing the Turtle King?
I don't think so. Believe it or not, I actually do love sharks. I'm just terrified of them. Oh, okay. I bet you what everyone's hearing, if it's a constant low hissing sound, it's probably the fan on my computer. Wow, hello to Moscow. Now, I need to study more on wraiths, but wraiths and wendigos are not the same thing. Yeah, I'm seriously going to have to go back and listen to this. Yeah, I remember you mentioning, the Crunchy Sofa was asking about the Thunderbirds, and I did do a terrible job of answering your question when I did my hashtag #AskBen video. I do need to look into it a little bit more, and I have it written down on my notepad as to covering it, but as I've been saying frequently, I don't really have that much time. I will, though. I've seen that shark with the, looked like a buzzsaw blade for its jaw. Is my house haunted now? If you're talking about the sound you're hearing, no, I think that's my fan on my desktop. Because it seems to be kicking up a little bit more than it should be. But as far as actual spirit activity, yeah, there's some here. See, James, when the Crunchy Sopa asked me about the Thunderbirds, that was my thought originally too, that a giant flying bird would be kind of hard not to see, and that there would be more reports, you would think. But here, come to find out, there are quite a few reports out there. I couldn't agree with Monchichi more. Sloths do rule. Yes, Russia does have many cryptids, and in fact, I devoted a whole video to cryptids of Russia. Charizard, I would love for that. Like I said, email it to me, and I'll be sure to show it on my videos. I've actually been waiting for some fan art. Nolan, there are quite a few cryptids in Russia. Actually, it seems like one of the places that have the most, if not the most, amount. Charizard, I would appreciate it even if it wasn't. The woman in white that I had an issue with here, and I made a video about, I still see her every once in a while when I'm sitting on my computer, but again, sounding like a broken record. I haven't had much time to be on my computer late at night, but when I was, she would still be there. Other than that, I really haven't seen her, but then again, I go to bed at 9:30, so that makes it a little more tough. There are cryptids in Sweden, and I plan on doing a video on them. Yeah, there are quite a few like that. What Nolan said about trolls. And I plan on eventually hitting as many countries as I can, just so long as it doesn't take away my future video usage. The face in the hallway has yet to be explained. I still have people saying it was fake, but I can tell you it was not. I, in fact, kept the flash drive, or what, not flash drive, the SD card that has the original recording on it, just for the fact of, if anyone ever comes up and says I want to see it as proof, I have it there. Not only that, but it has the videos before and after that show no one was there faking it. So I have no idea what it is either. I'm glad you enjoyed the Loveland Frog. I also wanted to say at this moment that I greatly appreciate all of you's understanding that I can't upload things as much as I would like to, but the outpouring of love that yous have given has been heartwarming, and I greatly appreciate it. I will get back to things being normal, hopefully in a month or two. So I guess we have that to look forward to. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Beyond Creepy. Did Cryptid attack someone in a cave? I'll have to look into that video about Beyond Creepy. I know I've looked at some of their videos, and I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the same one. But I know a lot of times they do almost their own version of a creepypasta, where it's not the mainstream stuff. It's stuff that they wrote up themselves or someone wrote for them. And so it's always hard to tell if what they're producing is legitimate or not. I remember seeing a video, and this might be them, it might not be, but it was a video about some girl dog watching this dog for this old woman, and there was like it was strange. If you know what it is, then you can tell me. I appreciate that, Linda. Where is this? Are you okay, Susan? I hope it wasn't anything serious. Well, James, wouldn't theoretically the sea monsters or the lake monsters be considered one? And I appreciate that rest, John. I wasn't sure. The Seven Thunders. I wasn't sure. Like I said, I've watched a few of them, and I know the name Beyond Creepy, and I'm not sure about Mr. Black. But I watched one, and it basically turned into a creepypasta. I believe I did a video on the Baba Yaga Magic Dragon Wizard. Well, according to Australian lore, there's quite a few dinosaurs in Australia. Thank you, Ash and Crumbs. Like I said, that's only like an hour and a half from my house. See, that's why I always get jumped when I say about the plesiosaur or the pterodon being a dinosaur and people say they aren't. I still go back to what we were told as kids, but I understand that. A different opinion on possessed and cursed items. I still believe that it happens. I'm not saying that like the Dybbuk box was cursed. I think that's more of a legend. I know that's a very unpopular idea to have, but there's enough evidence to say, or should I say enough stories for the moment to say that cursed and possessed objects do exist. I do believe that sometimes a spirit will attach itself to an object. So I'd say my ideas are pretty much the same. The bunyip is a strange one, Nolan. I like it, and it has some interesting stories behind it, but it also can vary in what it looks like, and I'm curious if they're not what are part of Dreamtime cryptids, if I'm remembering that correctly. I need to do something with the picture you sent me, Luis. Oh, you're very welcome. I've seen ghosts of my relatives that have passed, and it's normally in a way that, you know, they're not hanging around, but it's more along the lines of after they passed away, they kind of stop by just to say goodbye for the final time. But for the most part, we don't really have issues with any of the spirits that we have. We used to. We used to have a really angry spirit that lived in our basement of our old house. But for the most part, they kind of stay to themselves. Thank you for that. Welcome back, Charizard. Well, actually, one of the first ghosts that I came across, James, was my real grandfather. And he passed away when my dad was around 6 or 8 years old, so I never got to meet him either. But he did talk to me. Now, when you say that fairies are pestering you, Nolan, are they fairies or are they brownies? Because I know they're very much different. I made the mistake of the brownie that we had, calling it a fairy, and I won't do that again. The basement video? Which one was the basement video? Hello, Jeremy.
The one where you were doing your video and something started throwing stuff around down in the basement.
Oh, I forgot. I totally forgot about that one. Where I have what, 250 plus videos. I don't. I'm forgetting what they all are. Yeah, I totally forgot about the basement video, Monchichi. I forgot about that one. That was really fantastic with the phone. The phones got thrown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have yet to jump into the podcast forum. Only for the fact of, again, I don't really have the time at the moment. But I would like to look into all of it. They want to know what happened when I called the brownie a fairy.
He got hit with the closest object to him.
I don't know if you heard her say, but I called it a fairy, and it smacked me with a bottle that was on the windowsill about 2 feet away from me. Alright, here's the question. They want to know if you're into cryptids and paranormal as well.
Oh yes, most assuredly.
I do recall, Monchichi, I do recall you having I can't tell from looking at it right now, I do recall you from the very beginning of my channel. You had like a doll as your picture. Yes, we offered it food because they said it was a risky move where they said that if you offer a brownie food, I think it was cheese and milk or bread, something like that, that it'll be like an offering, not an offering, but trying to appease them. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, a gift. It was like a gift to them. And I'm laughing at what Susan said. Anyway, we offered a gift to it, and even with knowing what it could do, they said it would either take it and be happy, or feel that you were being putting it down. Basically, it would be offended by it. And unfortunately for us, I guess, depending on how you look at it, it took ours as a slight to its character, and we never saw it again. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was you, Jeffrey. Susan B says you're a keeper.
About time somebody said it.
Well, we try. Like I said, our original plan was to try to keep it around the house because they're supposed to be helpful. And when we did it, it didn't take it that way. I do want to do a Paranormal Police video part 2. Yeah, maybe. I can say I'm lactose intolerant. Jeffrey, I never heard about giving it tobacco or booze. Maybe that's where we messed up. Especially being that I quit drinking. Apparently, apparently, when it comes to brownies, they seem to follow, from what we've read, because we didn't know they even existed until we actually had one, was that apparently they'll follow like name bloodlines, and the thing that we didn't realize was that, or should I say, someone failed to tell us, whoever it came from, whichever side, was how to take care of it. And we really screwed that one up, apparently. I did enjoy doing the police video one. They had Charizard. They had on Kickstarter a cryptid related like game where you used these figures, and it was like a card game, and it was really cool. It was like a battling system, but I don't think it ever got its funding. But I would really be interested in that myself. Normally Chewy barks at the female Shih Tzus that are next door. Oh, that's hurtful, Dean, to say something like that. Two of my favorite cryptids, and you say you're skeptical. James Arthur Smith wants a dragon.
So do I.
Do I think dragons existed before?
Yes.
That is a tough that is a tough question. I honestly do not think that they did, but I haven't researched it enough to give a full question about it. Our dog used to hate motorcycles, and the dog Chewy, now just hates anybody that's around him that's not part of the household. He's friendly to anybody that comes inside the house, but he doesn't walk them by it. Marianne, the question about the brownie, we have no idea where it came from. It just all of a sudden appeared. Like I said, it was one of those situations that, even though we're into cryptids and paranormal, when I described the event of when I first saw it, my wife thought I was nuts. Because I was just laying in bed and it looked like a little gray kind of cat, like a kitten sitting there digging in the blankets. And then we did more and more research on it, figured out what it was, and she even saw it by her in the kitchen, like picking at the cabinet, she said. And we don't know where it came from.
You just had to feed it.
Just had to feed it. I'll have to look into that, Restion. They say Chewy's doing his job.
If only he could catch the mouse.
Yeah, right now we have a field mouse in the house, and he won't go after it. He tried to headbutt one once. Oh, I do have to ask, with so many Pennsylvania natives here, I am curious. Right now, apparently we have a tornado warning until 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm curious if you guys have that as well. I'd love to think Godzilla existed. That'd be cool. What? What kind of guy was that, Dean? But I see that it's about 8:04. I think I'm going to end this. I've had a great time tonight talking to all of you, and you've given me a lot of stuff to look up. And I always hate when it gets to this point when I gotta end the conversation. But you guys are free to continue it while I'm gone. But I appreciate all of you coming. I look forward to getting some of these videos out for you in the future. And I guess with that, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.